Well, Madam Speaker, I'd like to open by congratulating the Calgary Stampeders on their win last night. But with the growth of the city of Calgary, interaction between wildlife and residents becomes a way of life. My riding's proximity is very close to Fish Creek Park, so we see wildlife like deer, coyotes, bobcats, and on the rare occasion even moose and even bears enter my community. So to the Minister of Environment and Parks, what is your ministry doing to track wildlife in these areas?
Honourable Minister of Environment.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. And so Alberta towns and cities have developed rapidly in urban areas. And certainly we have an urban park in Fish Creek, and we often hear about wildlife-human interactions. And that's one of the reasons why we have struck a committee to manage it. And it's been chaired by the Honourable Member from Banff Cochrane, who's doing excellent work around human-wildlife interactions. But we also have a number of other initiatives. We've invested in parks infrastructure. We've invested in wildlife corridors and underpass infrastructure. We've invested in park staff and enforcement officers, Madam Speaker, all things that would not have happened had the folks across the way had their way.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Given I have heard significant concerns with interactions between bobcats and residents in my area, what is the government's policy to remove wildlife that may be dangerous to encounter with residents?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So if a wild animal is posing a danger to Albertans, there are a number of different things that they can do, but if they're in one of their in our parks or public land, they should call their local Fish and Wildlife Management Office. Depending on the species of animal, what the behavior is, where the encounter occurred, Fish and Wildlife officers may take one of several actions, Madam Speaker, including relocation, medical care, or euthanization.
Second supplemental.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Given that we have heard some concerns that the work on the Southwest Ring Road and the growth of South Calgary is disrupting migratory patterns of wildlife, causing them to enter areas that they haven't entered before, what is the ministry doing to prevent these negative impacts on wildlife during these projects?
Honourable Minister.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. In the case of the Ring Road, what we try to do is mitigate the impact on wildlife. So we've including clearing vegetation outside the breeding bird window, identifying locations to improve wildlife passage through clear span bridges, building fences at specific locations. We also made sure that the 2013 wetland policy applies to that project. We've therefore been able to avoid some wetland loss at Weaselhead that would have otherwise happened. We're trying to make sure that we carefully balance the environment and the economy, because with the Ring Road and with the coming Green Line, people need to get to where they're going, whether it's work or school, Madam Speaker, and we are committed as a government to making sure that happens.